The Adventures of Johnny Warrior. Johnny Warrior is a name you haven't heard for a long time, but he's back and he is vlogging. Now, we don't give credit enough to people on here that deserve the credit. Everybody wants to, let's say, Johnny Warrior, if you've ever followed his show, and years ago he was one of the most controversial people on YouTube, without saying, really. And of course, he was attacked by Triple R and all the regular goons. And, whatever they deem to be true or false about the man that labels his channel, his name is Donald, and the name of the show is The Adventures of Johnny Warrior. I'm willing to give him a plug because I think this guy's come a long way. He's back on here again. He's not talking about trolls, and he's smart enough to not get involved with all that shit. And everybody wants to see the negative side of everybody on here, right? But what does this man have going for him? Despite any hurdles, whether it was psychologically, physically, socially, whatever that he had in his life, he was strong enough to get his shit together. And we don't have to go over his history. If you followed all the antics of the hate club against Johnny Warrior, and you know who I'm talking about, and you know what all the controversy was about. Made up a lot of it, I'm sure. They went through hell and high water to destroy Johnny Warrior's life. Everything down to his wife, his family, everything. Legal documents, you name it. These people tried to find the dirt on Johnny Warrior. But the phoenix rising from the ashes. I gotta give him the credit. Now, people, as I said, they don't want to see the good side of you. They only want to emphasize what they think or created to be the bad side of you. Now, in Johnny Warrior's case, this is a man who's not sitting on his ass. Okay, let me get the screen. I got something popping up on my screen here. Let me get rid of it. Okay, fine. He's not sitting on his ass. Whatever controversy he had in the past, whether it was shit that he did or did not do, according to the hate club, the hate society on YouTube, this guy got his own revenge. Remember, the best revenge is living well. And that goes for me too. I think Johnny Warrior is living well. And he's far from sitting on his ass. The man runs a dive school, and he'll teach you anything from beginner diving to more adventurous diving for those that are well certified. He'll help you get your certification. Now it is rumored that he was into martial arts. I have no reason to believe that he was never into martial arts. I think he's even taught it. Try looking at people's good sides rather than trying to emphasizing or overemphasizing what you think is somebody's bad side. There's got to be a reason why you do that. Because maybe you don't live as exciting life as he does. That he's overcame everything from financially to social, marriage situations, whatever, hate from YouTube. But he's back. He was off for a while to get his life together. And okay, that's acceptable. He came back bigger and stronger. And he's got a lot of people following him now. You'll see his average show has over 1,000 viewers. At the end, you'll see the numbers on there. Because he has something to teach you. He has something to say, and he does it quite eloquently, I must say. Who on here, other than Jerry, or who really goes out there and is certified scuba diver? Who out there has a business in boats, whatever, and they're out there making money, they're earning money, doing things that they actually love to do. That's success. Whenever you're doing things that you like to do, that is success. Because you're not just doing it to make money, because you may have a passion for something and you are exercising your passion. This is what Johnny Warrior is doing. But we both came out victorious when you think about it. Nobody has affected my life or lifestyle. No way. He has a strong relationship. He's been with a woman, I think, 7 years, or as long as I have. He has 2 children, and he has apparently one on the way. Apparently loves his wife, loves his children. The man does have a heart. He does have passion. And the way he views life, if you just listen to a few of his shows, he has an interesting way, kind of how I look at things in many ways, of looking at people who are doing stupid things in their life. He understands about the condition of the Filipinos out here, what he deems to be gold diggers compared to people just trying to survive or take advantage of a guy, or just utilize their relationship to bring themselves up in their life, and there's no shame about that, and he makes a point of that. So you have to give credit to people, despite past controversies. Give credit to a man that still comes back on after a long time and says, I have not been defeated. Nobody's defeating me. I've never been defeated. And whatever negative that has happened to him, I'm sure he handled appropriately and efficiently and resolved whatever problems he had going on in his life, whether it's an ex-wife, any potential legal matters, whatever may or may not apply for this guy. Okay, so I don't know how much stretches of the imagination, well, or shall I rephrase that? What he did in the military, or the accolades he received in his life, I don't know how true that is. Well, it's all a bunch of bullshit fabricated. I really don't know, but a lot of you don't know either. Maybe he's not lying about what he accomplished. It's just people just don't want to believe it. Maybe he's even exaggerated some things, degrees and this and that and this and that. I personally don't know that to be true or false. I don't. However, in contemporary times, right now, he's back in the picture, whether or not anybody likes it or not, and they could go about and make their own judgments like everybody does. Everybody's making judgments on everybody else. You can think what you want, but see, you're not living his life, nor are you living my life. So it's easy to point that finger and say, hey, you did this and you did that. I'm going to check, make sure I'm getting out here. Let's do a test here on the phone. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Hold on. We're not there yet. Got a commercial?
With up to 100 peso cashback on Lazada. Peso cashback on Lazada.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay. I think we're getting out there, okay. This is probably a better time for me to be on. We had a great show earlier. Thank you very much to contributors. Just seems to be getting better and better. But you know, if you apply yourself, and look, you could be attacked until the cows come home, but unless you're really guilty of any allegations or crimes, chances are you won't be on YouTube. You want to hide in the nearest bush, get off YouTube. And I've never done that. I'm not guilty of any crimes. That's why I'm still here. I sleep well at night as well as I could. My conscience is clear. But Johnny Warrior does some things that a lot of us can't do. I can't scuba dive. My ear will not allow me. Well, I would have done that decades ago. You wouldn't want to look into my right ear with one of those scopes, because you'll see an eardrum that is so horrifically scarred, you would think acid was introduced into there. It's really bad. There might even be still a small perforation. The bottom line is I can't dive, because if I did go down beyond 10 feet diving, I would certainly get vertigo. Unless I was in a diving belt suit or something, equal pressurization all around my body, that's different. So who wants to do that? The self-contained underwater breathing apparatus co-invented by Jacques-Yves Cousteau and Émile Gagnon back in, what was that, 1942? I might got my dates wrong. They really pushed things to modern advancement in the ability to freely swim underwater like a fish, self-contained oxygen supply. They really made strides in where we are today. Got to give these guys the credit when it's due. And people are enjoying, instead of looking at the surface of the water and saying, well, that's pretty beautiful. Well, it is, but have you ever really seen what's underneath other than maybe snorkeling? Which I have done. I have seen some of the beauty. Not enough, though. Because even snorkeling has its limitations with me, unless I wear a special earplug, which I do have. It was specially made for my ear canal. But even that has a limitation. How many pounds per square inch the ocean water is as you go down every foot would not work well. But I certainly could snorkel. I wouldn't have a problem with that. And I haven't had a problem with that in the past. So, yeah, one of the things I hoped for all my life to happen never happened. I was so big about the ocean, scuba diving when I was a kid. I bought myself a spear gun. I bought myself a depth gauge. And what happened? Got a terrible ear infection, a mastoid infection. Very bad. They had to actually drill into the mastoid bone of the skull to get this infection out. That's how bad it was. Not a good scenario, I will tell you that. It really wasn't. It could have been death, could have been meningitis, could have been a lot of things, brain tumors. But I took care of it. But unfortunately, so much damage was done to the various hearing bones. You might know as the, I don't know, what is it, the anvil and the stirrup, perhaps the cochlea. No good. Had to be replaced with artificial, which still didn't take well. So there you go. As far as my career or hobby, doing underwater diving took a turn. And what you don't know is that I was very interested in marine biology when I was young. It never became a reality. I followed every show that had to do with the ocean, everything from Sea Hunt, if you go back that long, everything Jacques Cousteau specials. I watch still to this day a lot of documentaries about the ocean and the mysteries of the ocean. I can still have my passion, and I can still learn from all this. And I do. Nothing stops me from educating myself about the ocean. I'm fairly educated about sharks, not an expert at all. I can certainly recognize certain types of sharks. I understand about their feeding habits. I understand a lot about their behavior. There's a lot I do know about sharks. Not as much as I would like to, but that was always a fascination of mine. Mind you, if I was underwater and a big ass shark came by me, not ever being exposed to that before, without a cage and whatnot, yeah, I'd probably have a panic attack at the beginning, serious panic attack, because you're afraid of the unknown. But if you learn to understand about the shark and other marine life, you'll know that generally they're not going to bother you. And it may not say much about the bull shark, which is probably the most aggressive shark, and everybody thinks it's the great white. But it's actually the bull shark, which could also survive in outside of salt water, found in rivers. Even going all the way back in New Jersey when there was cases in the Battaglia River at the time, a lot of people were disappearing, getting eaten up by bull sharks that was in this river. Was it Passaic River? I'm not sure what it was. Then they found out, lo and behold, they were sharks, and learned that some sharks have the ability to swim both salt and fresh water. We all learn by experience and sometimes negative experiences. Don't judge a book by its cover. There's a lot of people out there that have accomplishments in their life that maybe don't talk about it, that don't boast about it. I've talked about a few of mine that I'm very proud of, but not necessarily to do a show all the time about what I did this or did that, I had published this or that. I don't need to do that. It was mentioned already, and we stop at that. I'm proud of some of the things I've done, but I don't have to do a show every day about it. I make mere mention of some of the things I accomplished. It make me happy while I was doing whatever it was I was doing. Sure, it did. I could look back and I could at least say that I had done some things in my life that I found were both pleasurable, maybe semi-profitable, and just very pleasant and rewarding to do. So I've done all that. Maybe not as much as I would have liked, but there are limitations to anything, I guess. But some may look at this way in a more positive way rather than pessimistic. That there shouldn't be any limitations to anything you want to do in your life. Make it happen. Those are the people I salute. People who make things happen. Even Jerry the Fairy. Jerry's a wise ass. We all know that. But he's welcome on my show. Jerry has done me wrong. He's had Brevis on the show talking shit about me. But I take him into my wings, kick the tires and see how he's doing. I let him come on my show. Jerry also scuba dives. So when you look at it, Jerry's faults, and he does definitely have some faults, you can at least say again about Jerry. Jerry ain't sitting on his ass all the time. Jerry is passionate also about scuba diving. At least these people are doing something with their life, where all the trolls really are doing shit. But talking about these people, why, instead of, be controversial about other people and attacking, why don't you, some of these things to open up your life just a little bit? It doesn't have to be a lot. Do something other than get on YouTube and just talk about what you think about somebody else. And we all do that. Even I do it to a certain extent and degree. And if it calls for talking about it, I do. I'm not making a career out of this. Only thing I ever done on here is defend myself. That's it. I'll make that statement until the proverbial cows come home. That's all I've ever done on here. You want to call me a troll, whatever you want to call me. I don't measure up to the average troll on here who spends probably 65% of their day trying to find fault with it, publishing it, or adding graphics to it, or artificial intelligence, whatever they do. That's a clear indicator where their life is and where it's going, or maybe where it always was. I always say, don't be envious of somebody if they have something that you don't. Go out and get it. Go out and get it. I'm kind of surprised you don't have any dialogue, probably because I just did a show this morning. I can understand that, but that's okay. But a little tribute to Johnny Warrior, a man who does, and he's doing it, despite what you may have seen him like in the past. How you want to label the guy, this is where inner strength comes in. He had a lot of adversity on YouTube. He was like the major in the YouTube vlogging genre. He was probably one of the biggest targets on there by a certain group. But he worked his way, apparently, and I don't know everything that happened in between, to be quite honest with you. But he is back on, he's doing shows, he's not getting involved in all the hysteria and mania. He's just doing his shows, talking about what he wants to talk about. Staying out of trouble, keeping his nose clean. Talks about his diving, gives his opinions about things, which I do on my show. I'm extraordinarily opinionated. That's okay. I've been given the ability to talk. I'm the ability to have life. I have the ability to express myself. Thank goodness for that. All of us should be thanking goodness for that. But I think what people have to control is what comes out of their mouth. That's what gets them into trouble. Why do you want to have a YouTube vlog? Now, I look at my list of videos I have on there. It's extraordinary. A good majority of these videos, which is an embarrassment to me, although I'm not going to get rid of them, because whatever I said on there I meant, that's why I keep them, is all having to do with some of the controversy on YouTube and doing the rebuttal situation, maybe being defensive. Then I kind of graduated to a different level these days where I could talk about some of this stuff, but not really let it bother me that much at all. Go with the flow, the ebb and flow, and just not get stressed and just look at things a whole different way. That fortunately for me, well, with all the adversity I received, it seems to be good that comes to me against the bad. I've been through a lot of shit, man, whether it's fighting a case with some fraudsters in another country or fighting the trolls here on YouTube. And I always come out victorious. Got an angel on my shoulder or something, but remember, the best revenge is living well. So when you think back at the name calling, allegations, things like that, it all comes down to one thing. How are you living your life? Are you living well? Can you afford to stay out here in the Philippines? Have you accepted the culture? Have you taken a good look in that mirror in front of you to see exactly what you've done that we would consider extremely wrong on here and question yourself as to why? And really examine yourself while you're doing that, while you're saying hateful things to people? Has it ever occurred to you at all that what you're doing is wrong? How do you see yourself after you get off YouTube? Are you the same person you are when you're on YouTube and you're blasting out all these insults and doxing people on a regular basis? What do you like off the tube? Are you a different person or are you the same person? I would tend to say that most of these people are the same personality as they are on YouTube. I think some people hide it from their wives and girlfriends or children. And when they're alone, they just go way out and whack out, and both barrels loaded, hate in this barrel, hate in the other barrel, double hate. Then family finds out about it. Say, I can't believe I never saw that part of you. I never thought you were that much of a hateful person. Why do you do this on social media, honey? Why do you do this? Good question. Trevor says, typhoon developing off the Philippines out of nowhere. That does happen out here, Trevor. It certainly does. That's kind of makes it a little bit exciting living out here. You never know what's going to happen. At least I got my neighbor. He has a flat top roof with the stairs going up there. I could take the family and the dogs up there. If there was like a big tidal wave or something. As long as it don't come over his house, it'll be okay. I don't have a flat roof. I have a pitched roof here. Jeff Hartsback. Will another company try and do submersible vehicle tourism, deep sea stuff? Hey, when I was in Hawaii, excuse me, and I was on the Kona side of the island on a big island, they had this tourist type submarine rides. They really did. All the tourism stuff was on that side of the island. And it was really cool. And that submarine took us out. They only went down to a depth of 125 feet, which was more than enough. And sometimes they'd have a diver that would decompress the chamber where they are, and they would go out there and they would come to the windows and they would bring up a starfish or something to show you. Actually, they'd be using a, what do you call a system, a floating air system. I forgot what you call that. With an air hose and a pump floatable on the surface that pumps the air down. Jesus Christ, how could I not know that? I forgot what it was. Yeah. No. Yeah, in Hawaii, on the Kona side, they have that. It wasn't cheap. Me and my daughter went well before I lived out there. And she was a little bit claustrophobic, though. That's why she had to stay near a window and look out. It was so beautiful under there. I could understand how peaceful. It just looked so peaceful. That's why I envy people who could die, have the ability mechanically, physically to die, because it's a beautiful world underneath there. It's so quiet. Of course, I experienced snorkeling. But, you can't really go that deep unless you have tremendous lungs. Snorkeling, some people do free dives, but it's a beautiful world under there that has always fascinated the shit out of me ever since I was a kid, still to today. I love being near the ocean, on the ocean, even in the ocean at times. It's not my biggest preference these days. As beautiful as the waters are, well, I hate to tell you, they're not the cleanest waters in the world. I told you the last open water snorkeling gig that we had, Gilda was snorkeling too, and she never had a problem with her ears at all. So after that snorkeling, She developed a little cyst in her ear. She had to have a minor operation for that. Yeah, the water's not as clean as you think. They are beautiful looking, but on a microbial level, that's a whole different story. Yeah, Beauty and the Beast. But I do envy those people who do dive and do things like that. And I wish I was younger again so I could trek up these mountainsides. And there's so much to see in the Philippines. Mountains you could climb, you'll see sulfur formations from volcanic action. You go to particular volcanic regions, hot springs, things like that. There's so much to see. There's over 7,000 islands out here. So if you had to see everything you could in 7,000 islands, it would take your lifetime and more probably to accomplish that. Like Hawaii, 8 main islands. So on the archipelago, there are other islands that are some not named. Some of them are sanctuaries for various marine animals or birds. But they do have an archipelago. There is a chain of islands in Hawaii. Most people who've never been to Hawaii, for some reason, they think it's one place. That it's just one island. People that really are not very knowledgeable, understanding how Hawaii was formed, has continued to grow every day because the lava flow continuation on the Big Island, for example, they have over close to 10 hectares, well, more than that, really, growing all the time. Yeah, in fact, out in the water, there are other lava formations that are going to be coming to the surface in a matter of years. It's going to be a new island forming. If you've ever seen what the Big Island looks like underneath, they've done these scientific experiments and whatnot, the new technology they have, that the Big Island is kind of like on a champagne glass in a way, turn it upside down. And it's actually sitting on a shelf. Scary thought, because somehow if the stem of that island somehow broke, that the whole island would sink into 10,000 feet of water, because a lot of places in Hawaii, inclusive of the Big Island where I live, you could go out a certain distance, beyond a mile or something or less, then it drops off into an abyss about 10,000 feet. So it's basically on a shelf. You can believe that shit. Wow. Things could change overnight, It's always dangerous living on an island. You're surrounded by an ocean. So if there's an incredible storm, you can't escape the island. There's an incredible tidal wave. I mean, you will be affected. Historically, there's been small islands that have been just totally covered and inundated with the waves. And there's a lot of islands right now that exist that are disappearing. Some have disappeared completely off radar because the water level, the Arctic melting, is taking the oceans at higher and higher levels. There are still islands that people are living on. I'm not talking about Hawaii. That used to be thousands and thousands of people, maybe down to a handful of people that are brave enough to stay there and still continue living off their fishing and so forth, that haven't given up yet. Eventually, they do move off the islands because they have to. They're not going to have a choice. Okay. Jeff Hart says, I watched a YouTube documentary about the richest gold and copper deposits, Papua New Guinea, at 16,000 feet. I don't think I'm familiar with the place in New Guinea, Papua New Guinea, but I wasn't too totally versed on the gold and copper at the 16,000 foot level or altitude. That would be a new one to me. I mean, gold is out there. You just got to find it. It's just kind of really crazy when you see like Parker Schnabel on Gold Rush. He's fun shit. There's a lot of shit on there that is not true. To keep the audience to watch that show and others like that. They got to find gold somewhere. If they go for a long stretch with a bunch of shows and not finding gold, it's not going to keep the interest up of the viewers. Who's not to say that the production company will provide gold on certain scenes to show that maybe Parker Schnabel or the other characters on that show found gold when they might have had a big lapse in time when they ever actually did collect any gold. Had some really bad digs. A lot of that stuff can be staged, and I'm sure a lot of it is. A lot of editing too. Now, Parker Schnabel, well, either way, he is successful. He's got millions of dollars. We've seen Parker Schnabel grow from a young kid. Now he's a grown-ass man. He's doing better than his grandpa did, and that's where he got his inspiration from. I like watching it, though. Whenever I can tune in on it, I don't know how old I go on. Where do I go on? YouTube or Netflix or something? And if I see something about the show, I haven't been on any live TV. We haven't done that. I'm usually watching movies and stuff from YouTube on my living room TV or Netflix. It's been getting pretty played out lately, I must tell you. But I enjoy watching those shows. I cheer them on. I hate Tony Beats though, the Norwegian guy on Gold Rush. Every other word he uses is fucking this, fucking that. Although I have my share, but that guy's got more money than sand on the beach too. It's pretty obvious that his wife, she's controlling the money in that family. All the kids are set up with their own houses and everything. They all work for him. Tony Beats, because Tony Beats got the land. He makes money by finding gold. He makes money by leasing land to people that he owns. Smart guy. They're all excellent mechanics too. They got talent. Not pretending to have talent, put a tool in their hand, like some people, but they got actual talent. Jeff says, I heard they do that on those abandoned storage locker. Yes. That's a very good example. Very good example. Those shows are definitely bullshit. They hire those people as actors, and basically they get a little something for being on the show, and they use that money to supposedly buy what's behind that door. And I stopped watching that shit a long time ago because I hated the characters. There were certain regulars that were always on there, always fighting with each other over this and that. The one guy I couldn't stand was this one guy. He's an older dude. He's always boasting about how he's living. I think he owns a furniture store and drives a nice car, the whole bit. And he was like really cocky and very arrogant, but there was a number of people on there that were. Yeah. But it's not like you see on there. The chances are, folks, MJ the Flipper was doing that. That's why he was called the Flipper. MJ was doing that, and I don't think he was as successful with that. MJ was doing that, if I remember correctly. Wasn't he? Yeah. And you don't always find good treasures in there. You don't. Most of the time, it's a bunch of shit that maybe has sentimental value that you put in there, but no monetary value whatsoever. And why they even bothered to pay the monthly fees that they're charging these days? So a lot of them, and usually there's just a lot of shit in there that's just, cluttering up their house. And for some reason, because it was just stuff in the family that they put it away just to have it, but not have it inside. They don't have the storage room for it, whatever. But there's generally, I'd say about 85% of the time, there's nothing but junk in those storage lockers. And every now and again, you might get really lucky, find some great rifles. You might find a jet ski that works. Sometimes you find a car. A lot of that was set up. Then they make believe that they're fighting over something and they got bad blood and all this stuff. I don't know, guys. That's why I like to be entertained by movies. We know that's all acting, and whether it's a sci-fi thriller, action movie, it's still entertaining. But we know nothing's real, and they're all acting. They're getting paid for. But documentaries are different. That's the only real good thing to really watch is documentaries. Because documentaries are documenting something. It's real. There's no paid actors on there at all. And you learn. Not things like doing these games that kids and grown-ups are playing, all this gaming stuff. People getting their heads chopped off, blood flowing. That's exactly what's negatively influencing our children. That should be eradicated. Like I said, I'm not a Puritan, but there's some things that we need to change in this life, in this world. I'm at the point where, you know what happens? You start to get a certain age and you just get to the point you just don't give a shit anymore. I feel more sorry for the animals on this planet than I do for the people. If that's a bothersome statement, I'm sorry, but I'm the guy that's rooting for the animals. Then, Frank, wait a minute, you eat animals. What are you saying? You're being a hypocrite again. Understand something. I'm not going out killing no animals. Now, if the animal had to die, you have to honor its death, that it gave up its life from being hunted or harvested to feed you, your family, and other people. You got to make good of the death of that animal. I will never go out and kill an animal to eat. We package foods in the store. We call it filet mignon. We call it T-bone. We call it sirloin. We call it ribeye. And we disguise meat for what it really is. And people don't want to hear that. It's dead flesh. Now imagine if they did commercials on TV. Buy our dead flesh. Guaranteed to be the most tasteful T-bones you will ever buy. Dead flesh. Our dead flesh is fresh. Imagine that. Would you buy it? No, it wouldn't go good for your palate. But if you see the reality of what we all do, not all of us, some are vegans and vegetarians. But true, the beginning of time, well, for men, we're like any other animal, and we survived by foraging for food, whatever was available. We had to eat and survive. We're not different than any other animal. Our teeth was made for meat because we got these canines or incisors that we use to tear meat up. Why do we have that? Why? If we were just meant to be vegetarians, we wouldn't need these incisors or type of teeth that's meant to rip meat apart, right? Have you ever thought about that? Yeah, nobody wants to kill Bambi. I don't either. But I'm not the one that's doing the killing. That doesn't make it right because I'm not the one doing the killing of an animal. I'm not saying it makes it right at all. But you have to make best that an animal gave up its life to feed you. And you take advantage of that. Rather than an animal dying, hit by a car on a roadway and it just rots to death in the brush, never be eaten. Except maybe some flies and rats or something, but it's still providing something for some other creature, right? For maggots, for rats, whatever. Passing dog or something, a wolf. It's all called staying alive, and we all do it. And of course, if we trained our minds to think as that steak we're eating, or that pork chop, or that chicken, that it was a living, breathing creature at one time that was running around, having babies, celebrating life, and a life was taken away from that animal for you to eat, for you to survive. Even on a cellular level in our body, cells depend on nutrients to feed it. Everybody needs to be fed, whether it's vegetables, meat, whatever. We're animals, some more so than others, but in other respects. But we are all animals. We need the meat. The kind of protein you get from meat is uncomparable to any other thing on earth. Any kind of a vegetable or legume, however you want to pronounce it, beans, protein. You can't get any higher level. And trace minerals, everything else that you find in meat and iron, it's really healthy for you. Of course, cut off all the fat. You don't need it. You have a little bit of fat, that's okay. Your body utilizes everything. But anything in excess is too much. Even eating too much red meat is not a good thing for you either. No wonder there ain't too many people here. That explains that somebody's having a show. That's okay. I'm not too familiar with the Van Turner guy. But the hate crew is always looking for somebody to attack on here. And they keep on getting their shows taken off. They come back, but it just goes back and forth. They got a bone to pick with just about everybody on here. Until their time comes, when something happens to them, or somebody finds out who they really are. Yeah, the tables... Well, they turn. You go. Everybody's an animal out there trying to survive. Everyone. You, me. We'll do the best we can to survive until we no longer have any control over our ability to actually survive without help from somebody else or something else. You just enjoy the life that you do have now until you don't have a life anymore. That's all you can do. You can spend all your fucking time, spending your goddamn time downing people constantly. I don't know really where it gets you. Historically, it doesn't really get you too many places. But I guess I'm competing right now with Aloe's time of hate. God forbid I interfere with that. Oh, Johnny Warrior wrote me back. Glad you're enjoying. Thanks for taking the time to watch. Okay. Yeah, I'm actually, let's see. He answers something. Okay. Okay, cool. Totally cool. Yeah, I'll watch Johnny Warrior's show. And I'll try to catch up on some of the ones that I haven't seen. I think Johnny Warrior can express himself very well, and not everybody has the ability to do so. And he's done things in his life that nobody else has done, sure. And he has something to say. And if somebody has something to say that's positive, I'm willing to listen and I'm willing to learn because I am alive. I'm not dead yet. I'm still on this earth. I'm still alive. And every day, to me, is a learning experience. Okay, Jeff Hart says his avatar looks like a Planet of the Apes person, unless that's really him. I don't know. Which one you're talking about? I just saw Aloe on the live review. Okay. You understand, folks, yet, where I'm coming from. Okay. Where's my mouse? I think by now, you're kind of piecing things together about me and or my show and the history behind it. Thank you. Oh, where's my screen? Whoops. Where are you? Oh, there you are. I had lost my screen for a second there. What you put out comes back to you, and I still believe in that. And by the way, I have to give thanks to Bucks, whatever. Thank you on that. I've had mentioned at the end of my show, and Gilda's seen it on her phone because for some reason I'm going to double check again on my block list. Unless Gogo Bobo was under a different name, and the name change wouldn't mean anything. I give a thank you to again to Gogo Bobo's sister, who's been pretty much active. The short time here I've been getting donations on my show and I've been monetized. So yeah, thanks again to Bobo. It doesn't matter how big or small. I think Gogo Bobo's last donation was a couple bucks. Hey, it's a couple bucks. He didn't have to do that. You know, not at all. The thanks still go out. Big or small, don't matter. Okay, well, we are competing with his show, so we have a lot of people probably listening to all the animosity and bullshit on his show. Is it on right now? It's actually on the Al Davinta show. Okay, there it is. A talk with Van Turner. Okay, we're going to get off here, guys. I want to thank you again for showing up. I didn't really plan to come on again, but I started watching a little bit of Johnny Warrior, and I whatever problems he may have had with me in the past because he was influenced by the trolls, I don't have a problem with this guy at all. Even the red dot thing on my head. If you remember that, the red dot, all is forgiven. I just think that Johnny Warrior got caught up in all the trash, too. Got caught up in that vortex. It became ugly for everyone. It became ugly for him, but he got beyond that. He got beyond that. And that's what you need to do on here. Okay, guys, we'll catch you at a better time when we can get your attention, and that we don't have any other channels competing with the time on here. Okay? All right. Let's see. Blonde will respond. John Blaze TV. Is that like another division of your show, John Blaze? I don't know. Okay. If that's you, John Blaze, actually. If that's you. I know your real email address, so figured out if it's you or not. Okay, good as any. So unless anybody has anything else they want to say on here, I'll give you another minute or two to say what you need to say before I go. Give you that opportunity. And then we're going to get off here. What time is it? It's 10 after 10. No, he may not have a record with the FBI, but doesn't mean he doesn't have a record. He has a record. I know that as a fact. Maybe not with the FBI. Oh, shit, man. Don't worry. Information, oil always floats to the surface. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's really you, John Blaze. Oh, God, you could tell me. Believe me. I'm not going to put it out. If it's really you, just give me a jingle on the email or something. Good information like that I will keep to myself if I know that it's really good information. It could be used appropriately at appropriate times. Call it the ace in the hole, whatever you want to call it. It is. Okay, cool. That's who you say you are. And I don't know who this guy they're talking about. I've heard the show's about Van Turner. All I see is an avatar of a really creepy looking guy, as you would expect here on YouTube. Tell you what, I'm going to leave this on until the battery goes out. And you guys want to talk, contribute, whatever you want to do, we can always come back to this. But I'm sorry, I got there's really things I need to do. And I'm getting just kind of distracted putting on another show. But I'm going to leave this on a little bit because I might be coming back. And you guys can talk among yourselves. If you want to donate, that's fine. If you want to rap with each other, that's fine. If you want to get a dialogue going with each other, express yourself, whatever you want to do. We're going to leave this on for another half an hour. How's that? Okay. Well, what happened was, if that's you, John, I spent a lot of time talking to the BI about his privileges and why he should not have a phone that he's getting on social media, making derogatory comments and so forth, trolling. And that's getting him into trouble in the first place with 5 counts against him and take advantage of a situation. I told you, he'll never change, right? Was that right? And even you said it, that's John Blaze, that you just don't feel that this is a guy who will never change. Do him favors, he won't appreciate it. He's never appreciated anything anybody's ever done for him. When they were seriously, some people were actually really seriously trying to help him. He didn't appreciate anything. Well, that's possible because I heard a few things about that. He's incarcerated. So that would be the ideal situation if that was taken away from him too. That's torture. That's hell. Okay, cool. We'll be in touch. Write me an email. That's you, John Blaze, Larry. Okay, I'm not going to disappear. I'm just going to put my microphone on mute because there's some things I want to do, and I may come back from time to time, but I'm going to keep the channel going so that you guys can have this opportunity to converse with each other and express your thoughts and opinions. Try to do that now and then when I can, He's more handsome than Sabu. Oh, that guy's such a fucking loser. I'm just waiting for something to happen with him. Could be information on Jasper that's coming in. I may know what John Blaze is talking about, and I may not. I'm not going to share that with you on who he's talking about. Okay, it could be one of 4 characters. One of them, I think we knocked off the shelf already. So we're down to basically 3 characters. Okay, that's really you then. Okay, cool. Send me an email if you haven't already. I just want to go tend to a few things and I'll be back. But I'm going to keep this on. I like to do that now and then if I spent this much time to come on. Let me just take care of some chores and shit. You know, a lot of you people don't have a channel of your own. And by doing so, it's kind of like you have your own forum to speak. Of course, I'm going to check now and then to make sure there's not any derogatory messages on there from trolls and stuff like that. Late to Uncle Fester. He could very well be. Okay, guys, I'm going to put this on mute for now. It's your channel until I come back, and I don't know when. Could be a few minutes, could be a half hour, could be an hour. I don't know. I'm giving you a free forum for those that don't have your own channel. And whoever's willing to come on here, and there will be, I'm sure after Aloe's show, they're all going to gravitate back over here. So you might as well, I don't know, you might as well hang out. What else better you got to do? Some of you anyway. So let me plug this in to make sure the battery doesn't go out. I've got a bad habit of not charging with this laptop. Okay, we're all plugged in. We're ready to go here. Oh, good Lord. I'm gonna find a t-shirt. I just showered. I didn't do much on the treadmill. I only did about a half an hour on there, which is better than a kick in the ass. But we'll make up for it later on. I'm not gung-ho on this. I am using it. I promise. I am using it. But it's just got to be a little more diligent, you know. Sometimes it's too hot in the room. I say, fuck, I just don't really feel like doing this. I just really don't. But then I'll do it anyway out of guilt, okay? Show's still on. I'm not going anywhere. I may not be saying anything for a little while. I'm handing over the floor to you guys, no matter who shows up or how many people disappear. We're going to keep this on for a while. We'll be back. Thank you. Feel free to donate. Feel free to leave messages. Feel free to have a dialogue with the other viewers on here. Whatever floats your boat, we'll be back. Okay. Oh, boy. We had to have the veterinarian. The veterinarian came over. My dog has this kind of a pigmentation around the eye. He just looks terrible lately. So finally, it just made him hey, do a scraping. Do a scraping of the eye. And send it to the lab and see if there's anything they can figure out. She has allergies just like I do. You know, dogs get, according to breeds, certain breeds you don't want to get. There's a certain breed of dogs you just don't want to get. And even a German Shepherd. I love Shepherds. A full breed Shepherd, big old boy, you know. They're nice to have, but they get the hip displacement and all this. There's a lot of dogs up the block died. It was a puppy of the mom, you know. Big dog. It was puppy because it's, you know, spring, but from a tick. Especially the kind of disease you get from a tick. You get Lyme disease, something that happens to dogs too. Now, my dogs are not roaming around the fields, they're not roaming around the beaches. They're pretty much homebodies, you know, so they're not. Now, cigarette smoke, I don't smoke in the house, but nevertheless, it's ambient, you know. She could be allergic to me, you know, and I could be allergic to her. More likely, I'm allergic to her because I was tested many decades ago. We're talking about a long time. And I mold and everything that's out here. Mold and dog dander, whatever. Probably why. And you got to see, you know, we brush the dogs down as often as we can. They're not like really big furry dogs, but you'd be surprised what comes off. That's just ambient and falls around the house quite a bit. You vacuum it or you, in fact, we've got to get a bag for the vacuum, which reminds me today. God. Oh, gee. I got to get this special soap or medicine to bathe the doggy smell when you come in. That's why you have to bathe your dogs. Just like humans need baths, same shirt every fucking day. You can't, you know, you can't live in the tropics and not shower, for God's sake. God, if you do that yourself at all, you gotta shower out here, man. I mean, the world uses antibacterial soap because elements in these bacteria that are very beneficial, you're destroying them. But, you know, when I think Even my well water, I don't know what the hell's in there because I never had it tested. Odor to it, but you're showering and all that shit with that, okay? And you don't know what the hell's in it. I would just really suggest that you do use antibacterial soap. Something maybe with a, I don't know, if you have anything that has a lotion in it for your skin. But antibacterial, absolutely. If you're living in the tropics, I mean, you've got to. You've got to. I'm trying to go on cetrazine, which is actually Zyrtec. I'm going to go on that for a while and see if that helps. Because this got allergies, but there's something triggering. And I don't know what it is. The more likely is dogs. Around the dogs, very close. I'm petting them constantly. You know, they're in our life. They're in every, well, except our bedroom. We don't allow her in there anymore. Because even like it's reactive to probably the dogs. Can't think of anything else, you know, all the time. You know, picking up shit in the jungle, neither of the dogs. So they got a nice environment around here. I wish they were the kind of dogs I could take. I could probably take Sal to the beach. You know, Lee. She's pretty cool. She's like Miss Sociable. You know, this dog is so absolutely sociable and alert, and she never gets sick on anything. But Ginger, who's the older one, she's about what, 5 years old now. Gets always something. The fungus between the toes or her pads. She's licking at it all the time, and so if you're going to get a dog, the responsibility goes with that too. Not just the kids, yourself, but you got animals. If you don't maintain them, like anything else, your own body, it's going to break down. Anyway, no, I went on there a little bit, and I don't even know who that guy is. Sounds like Havoc Master to me, but whatever. Boring. I just got off it. I mean, it was toward the end of the show anyway. Just boring. Anything Aloe puts on is pretty damn boring. It's either after the fact kind of material or just, I don't know, ad lib for the moment. And I just don't find this show exciting enough to listen to it. Popeye, the reason he hasn't had any shows on, I guess because he probably got strike. He has one more strike left. He don't want to use it up. But he will be able to go on a show and be able to do it that way through Alice live streaming. That, you can't count on their shows taking off. And mine, it just hasn't. It just hasn't. Maybe I've been lucky or I don't know. Whatever, I've had strikes before, but never to strike out my channel. Not in my my history that I could recall. I could be wrong. There might have been one or twice I was. At least certainly had strikes, but I don't recall my channel being taken down. Maybe you can refresh my memory, but I don't really recall that. Okay, so do I have to make a trip again to go get this soap for the dog? I just don't feel like going out when it's really hot out. Just to go to a town. Well, I do need some packets of dog. There's a special pedigree gravy mix with beef in it, that we buy. We add it to the kit. The pedigree beef and vegetable is what we use for it. To put it right up front, the best dog food. There is shit in there, okay? But it's probably the best, or close to the best, you're going to get locally out here. This pedigree brand. They got all kinds of dog food, but it's total crap to give your dog. But it's starving, right? So people will give their dog some really dog food they can, based on their budget. Over here, for example, he just gave them their parasite shots. Not shots, but it's like a little square that they eat. And that's good for a month for anybody. Everything, And you know what? I'm going to tell you right up front too, man. It would not be a bad idea to take some parasitic medicine because you can catch parasites out here from the produce and everything you eat out here. You may have hookworms. You may have, worms that you don't know you had. Remember that time I told you I had a colonoscopy and they found there's a hookworm? It's from the Philippines for sure. Most of you walking around there, if you remove that during a colonoscopy, there's only one. You may have a lot. You may have a lot. And you just don't know. So if you've been living out here in the Philippines for a while, you even visited and you ate a lot of foods out here, there's parasitic activity going on everywhere. You're not immune to it. If the parasite the egg or anything existed, ate or whatever it might be, you got a damn good chance of contracting that. You're not going to particularly die from that, but it could add up and get ugly. So nip it in the bud is why not? It's better to go that direction than to fall. Believe me, if you're living in, I will almost grant you that. If you've been living in a physical food, whether it's restaurants and produce and so forth, I guarantee you're consuming parasites or eggs of parasites, and you probably have in your colon or intestines, you probably have sort of parasite. Now, I hate to tell you this, I know you don't want to hear it, but I've done my research on it, believe me, you know me. Chances are, and especially according to the environment you're living in, to factor to make it even better, that you likely have parasites. Uh-oh, science fiction movie. No, it's not science fiction, it's reality. All kinds of parasites. Nice out. See if anything's peeking out of it, huh? No, it doesn't work that way. But sometimes that would. Sometimes that would. According to what you got on their head. They got a sore on there, and people, if they feel strange activity, they go get examined. The doctor finds it's like, and these parasites come out for oxygen. If you're eating lunch or anything, I'm sorry. But a lot of countries in the jungles and that people travel to, they pick up that you don't know. You're not aware until something actually happens. Yeah, that's nasty. I've seen things on videos with that stuff. They're actually pulling worms out of your scalp. They come out for air. Oh, I know. It sounds disgusting. It is disgusting. But hey, welcome to something called life, and welcome to our planet. Where there are more parasites you could shake a stick at. And whether or not you're going to contract it, it's just pure luck. Never had any on your skin, your worms, worms. Oh, geez. Molly Ringwald. It's gross, but hey, guy, especially that probably has all kinds of no names though on here at all. We won't do that. Okay, we'll be nice. It wouldn't be. It won't kill you. It won't kill to get an anti-parasitic medicine and take it every now and again. Okay, you're not going to die from it. You know, I'll guarantee you. And I haven't done that since I had the colonoscopy back in Hawaii. And live out here, whether you're anywhere in Asia, especially, everything you eat, produce to meats, there's parasites. Wow, that you could even see some of the parasites and worms in there. Examine your fish before you eat. Okay, that's my best advice. Me, I don't really eat fish, so I don't have to be concerned. We got 8 thumbs up and 8 watching. That's a good ratio here. Appreciate it. Don't be afraid. It's done. It's called preventive maintenance. This country, we're very, very fortunate here because even though food and a lot of drugs, different things are expensive out here. Almost everything, really, except for housing. You know, it's still going to cost you later on when damage is done to your body that you just haven't been maintaining your body. What's it going to cost you then? But you're very fortunate. You're very fortunate that there are certain things you can't, even with the parasitic concerns, that much money. Okay, but just to get any parasites, talk to whoever doctor you go to. Most of the time, you don't even need a prescription for these kind of things. But I'm going to check into it myself because it's been quite a while. But just heed my word. I'm not kidding you. As gross as it may not, your chances are really high. Been quite a while, and you've been eating the local foods and produce and fruits and all that stuff. Oh boy, pork. Oh boy, pork. Not as much as beef. Yes. Chicken, possibly yes, but or make you wiser. Probably freaking you out. And I hope I am. If you live in, if you haven't been out here yet, because a lot of my viewers don't even live in the Philippines. Here, I would periodically do some checkups or whatever. I don't know if they can see it in the blood, but I would probably take medicine. The Philippines or Thailand, Malaysia, China, Vietnam, Laos, like that. It doesn't take much. I'm going to tell you this much. Just walking to outside and then in your house with your shoes on. Unfortunately, I do that a lot. There's parasites going to be. Dogs do it all the time. They walk parasites. They lick their feet, eggs. The dog. Ability. Parasitic medicines every month. It's better than not. Yeah, it's a poison. Of course it is. But such a small amount, it's not really going to affect your dog very much. But do it for the dog, but do it for yourself because you might. There's certain parasites, perhaps. I don't know which ones or certain things you can catch. It is possible. So that's a word to the wise. Check those parasites. Have your partner stick a fucking flashlight or a magnifying glass up your asshole. I'm only kidding. You don't have to go to that extent. But just get a parasitic medicine. Take it every now and again. Once a year, twice a year, whatever. But if you ain't got parasites, you're okay. If you do, then, well, and the one thing, that's why you worry about dogs getting heartworm. Do you get enough of the air surrounds your heart? So what you didn't know is don't give your dogs any heart. I've had a blood test to check out if they already have heartworms. That's a problem because if they already have heartworms and you give them a something to kill heartworms, there's like a rule to this, really. Don't possibly kill the dog because the heartworms is just going to remain around the heart, whatever, in the heart. It's better to do a preventative. But I guess there are medicines you can give your dog if it has heartworm, as long as it ain't real bad. But you have to do a blood test first. Don't into your dog unless you've had blood tests to know your dog. Okay, it might have a mild form, which is probably okay to give parasitic medicine to. But once they really develop in parasitic medicine, they die around that heart. All right, it's been a gross topic here. I didn't start off that way. We might kind of let it hang for a while, let you guys talk. Yes, you'd rather the host be on here like I am. So I do understand. Yeah, we've been kicking out a lot of shows, I admit that. And I think I need to slow this down a bit because I think only when I really have something worthwhile to talk about on here, because I get a little burnt out myself, you know, and I could say, come on here all the time and get your super chat. Super chat, it's not every day. Some people do 20 times a day, whatever, that they possibly can for their monetization. I don't know. I come on if somebody donates, he donates, but I don't want to just do a bunch of continuous shows. I want to give people look forward to that I'm not on once a day or more than once a day, multiple times a day. I want you to look forward to my. I've been on for a while. I think it works easier said than done because I'm very spontaneous, and I'll go on and do a show when something comes. I'm like, oh, something I forgot to say. Oh. Then I come on and I wind up doing a show. So, I mean, I do that, but sometimes I thought when I do a show, and there might have been a topic or something I wanted to discuss on here that I just totally forgot about. It just didn't come to my mind at all. So instead of waiting for the next show, unless I don't write down that, spend my time writing notes for YouTube, I'll just try to think about it and say, okay, well, when I wanted to briefly talk about this, and I forget, then it comes out, I'll just do a separate show so I don't forget it and talk about whatever I wanted to talk about. Okay, so I'm not going to. We've been on here quite a while, even though I haven't been on. It's been 2 hours and 20 minutes here, though I've been off at half the time, more than half. I just was leaving it on to give you guys an opportunity to kind of get to know each other and kind of on here, but I didn't see a whole lot of that going on. Some of you maybe don't like each other. I don't really know, but I do try to offer an open forum to people, which not many people do on here. As I said, a lot of people don't have their own show, and rightfully so, not to do so. So they don't want to go on that platform. Just listen or comment on other people's should be fine. You're probably better off doing that than, putting together the money you're going to make on here. I make some super chat, but it's very little. It doesn't even warrant me coming. I mean, it does add up. Every little bit actually adds up. It does. Shoot my AdSense, a couple of super chats. So next month goes by and you get paid. I can make a couple hundred, $400, whatever. I mean, what's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. That's as long as I got donations, though. But as far as my AdSense, no, I don't expect to make much in that. Remember, you got to make at least $100 before you get paid. Keep that in mind, because that's how that works on here. 100 to 100, you don't get paid for that month. It'll just have to carry over into the next month. And yeah, it comes in handy. Of course it does. Who doesn't need? Who wants to go into their budget or out of their budget? But if you're a monetized show and shows, why not? Why not accept Super Chat and the AdSense, all that shit? There's no reason you shouldn't do that. I would encourage it, but don't. The difference is don't on your show. 3 months, if you made $400 just last month, it doesn't mean you're going to make another 400 or anything more than that, less. You may not have any more donations. So please don't depend on your donations if you happen to have, because it's not always going to happen the way you like. And shit, I did pretty well this month. Or you may have very little, just enough to pass your $100 qualification. And all that other stuff. Keep all that in mind. But yes, it's better to be able to receive a little rather than nothing. I mean, something is better than nothing, right? It's the way I see it. Hopefully, more people subscribe to your channel, and as I said, I'm not doing that. I really not. The keywords to try to seen by the right people, by which you put in and you punch in on your text, the meta text. Actually, it was a meta text. Because how else is your audience going to know unless they just happen to access? I got to be more gung-ho with that, and I must admit that I'm really, really not. Or else I would get more AdSense, I would probably get more people and all that. So, important. The keywords are what actively brings people to the local audience that's been following you, and they automatically gravitate to your channel anyway. But you want other new people, you want some newbies to come to your channel that's never heard your channel before. That's how it works. You got to get yourself out there. You got to advertise your channel somehow. Some people do it by advertising on Facebook, and I don't really do that. I only use Facebook. It's for sale and to use the messenger to communicate with people. I generally don't do an active page. It's actually a private. I don't really put out any information on that show. It's more personal. I'll just use the messenger. And I look at the ads, and they also have these feeds, what's going on in the Philippines and elsewhere, and news and so forth. But I'm not an active Facebook person. I got a Facebook page, but it's only utilitarian to me with the messenger. That's all I use it for. And I communicate with certain people through Messenger, but I really do not post anything on my Facebook. You will see if you go there. And it's friended me on Facebook, and I don't have that many Facebook friends in there at all because I'm really not intertwining with anybody else on there. I'm not really communicating with anybody in Facebook in general. I don't have a bunch of people following my show or my Facebook page, and I'd rather not. And I'm on YouTube. If I have to say something, I say something right here on YouTube. I've been off for quite a while here, so what time is it? Oh, yeah, I guess she's piecing something together for lunch over here, and I got to shave anyway. Jesus Christ. I got to tell you, my hair grows, even if I have a haircut. I guess I don't have a problem growing hair. That's for sure. If I wanted to grow a beard, I'd probably have one in a week. My hair grows pretty fast. Beard. I have no interest in forming a beard. My skin feels yucky and scratchy and itchy, and smells could adhere to it, food could adhere to it. It's just, I don't know. Some people like beards and mustache. I don't know if it's a macho thing. I don't know. I am north in America or somewhere. You live in a cold region, Alaska, Northern Alaska, Yukon, or, I could understand it could actually keep you warm in the winter. But as far as growing a beard to try to make some like I'm a real man, and a real man, it's a real man thing, you know. The real man has a beard. Oh, that's so fucking full of shit. It's not what makes a real man. Go over that again, but I just make it very simple. Mustaches and beards are everything for me. I never had each. I've had close to having both, but right away I said, nah. It's a different image for me. It would be a whole new different image. See what I look like with a real beard and mustache. Nah, you can just look like. But I'm not going to grow it out. It's irritant to me on my skin. Anything, how manly I am. If you're a man or not. Tough and wear your hair in a Mohican or something, a Mohawk haircut or some bullshit like that to try to look ominous. There's no need for that shit. Body. See Ricky's girlfriend, how many tattoos she has? I had a question for him, and I choose gum too. Whatever you could think I meant by that. See, tattoos, check. Can be bought, check. Does she chew gum? The reason why I asked if she chews gum. Privilege of leaving the facility when he needs to. No. Or he to do something, whatever, I don't know. Generally on medical. He cannot just randomly decide to get out for a couple of hours from his jail cell. That's just not going to happen, period. He may try to put on an act. Oh, my COPD, whatever it is really acting up on me. I'm not breathing right. I need... That could be his way of getting out. What monotony of his jail cell. Like, yeah, of course he'll be escorted. But, you know, he's out. And that breaks the monotony, and that could help a lot. So I would not be surprised if that's the game plan that he has all the time to get out of there. But Brevis says that he's got special permission. He could leave. Valid reason. Yeah, it would have to be a valid reason. And the only valid reason I know of would be medical assistance, testing, whatever. That's it. See a doctor. Go to the hospital. There's no other reason or rhyme. They're going to let him loose on the streets without being supervised and without having a good reason to get out of that cell. It's just not going to happen, okay? Thanks for listening. I'll catch you on the next. I don't know when. I'm not going to shoot these out like Filipinos having babies. It just takes too much energy from me. With a lot of gotta come on at certain times on here to really achieve that. Or just get lucky. It's not a figure. There's more people on. You want to have a good lively audience, right? And that's the way it should be. And it's too hot in this room. I want to go get something to eat for lunch. And we'll just catch you on the next show. And again, for the previous donors, thank you very much. I'm here because you're there. And don't listen to what everybody says on here, folks. They're just mean people and vicious people who are envious of your life, your partner, your house, whatever. It don't matter. Green-eyed monster gets really ugly sometimes, doesn't it? It certainly does.